Yo, what's up, my burners? How you doing out there? This is WeedMan420 Chronicles coming at you. What's up, Dav Boi?
Hello.
T.
What up?
Yo, I hope everybody had a great holiday this week. We are going into the new year flying high with some G6 jet fuel that my boy Dav Boi is smoking right now.
I feel like Maverick from Top Gun.
What was this by?
Gold Leaf.
Gold Leaf?
Because you told me the name and said don't confuse it with the other one that you bought stocks in.
I did. It's true. It's true. This stuff is fucking fire.
It is heat, and it's a nice, relaxing, gets me going, hybrid. And it comes in this nice glass jar as opposed to the plastic one, so you know it's got to be worth a little bit more money.
If you like jet fuel, I highly recommend G6. And
Never run out of jet fuel.
Yeah, and we're starting off getting high real quick like we do, and only because we just don't want to wait to the middle of the episode anymore like we used to, so get used to it.
Yeah, deal with it. Their mumblings.
Well, I hope everyone had a good holiday, whatever you celebrate, but we are going into the new year with Illinois going into recreational. But before we get into that, let's talk about some 2019 biggest victories for cannabis.
End of the year recap.
End of the year recap. This year was a big one for marijuana.
Big dubs.
The first ever congressional vote on federally legalizing cannabis to state ending its own prohibition law. 2019 saw the marijuana movement make advances on several forefronts. You ready for one?
Lay it on me.
Marijuana legalization advances in Congress in November. We'll talk a little bit about that later, though. Let's just skip over that one because y'all got duped. Anyway, duped. Presidential candidates embrace marijuana reform. Like who? The majority of Democrat presidential candidates are running on marijuana legalization platforms. You know what?
They love the pot.
Yeah, but you know what? I've been watching some of the debates, and not all of them talk about it, except for Bernie. He's the only one that talks about it a lot.
Yeah, he wants us to feel the burn.
And dumbass Joe Biden, like we talked about, the boomer Biden shit.
With his teeth.
But South Bend, Indiana, Mayor Pete have gone further, saying that they would decriminalize possession of all drugs, while entrepreneur Andrew Yang supports decriminalizing opioids. Ooh, that's not good. But
yeah, Andrew Yang's really up on that.
Yeah, he just wants to just legalize everything.
Yeah, well, no.
Paulie was a big fan of him.
Yeah, Paulie does like Andrew Yang.
Yeah, I think he's a good dude. I just don't know if I'd vote for him. I think he has some really good ideas. Let's not get into politics, but
yeah, I got to get more involved on that part.
Yep.
I don't. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, let's go on.
Moving forward.
Trump supports the respecting states' marijuana laws, which is dope.
Which I think is awesome. Nice little federalism.
And so did Obama. Obama said let the states control it. So does Trump, leaving the states alone to do what they need. No FBI and no DEA just busting down on doors.
Do you think it's better to lay it in with the states and have it federal?
Yeah, I think federal government should stay out of everything, but I'm a libertarian. What do you
I feel you. I just think it has its ups and downs because Colorado, first one to, put it out legal, I'm sure they saw some backlash in there with, population rising.
Yeah, but if you get too many hands in the cookie jar, you kind of fuck things up. I think the state should just legalize it federally and put 2 or 3 referendums on it and then let the states kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, I agree. I like when the states have a little more power.
And it's just kind of like the mob. You got to pay the man up top.
I'm a balanced guy.
Kind of like the mob, though, where the states make the money, they bring in the tax, and they got to pay the guy upstairs.
Well, nothing says politicians like the mob.
So, so that's it. Let's see what else. Cannabis banking bill passed by House.
That's
cool.
Pretty cool. I like that a lot because now that the banks can kind of fund these marijuana startups. And, you don't have to worry about that, getting a loan from the bank now if you want to get into pot.
Yeah, and eventually you can use your friggin' credit card to go into a dispensary and use your credit card to friggin' buy some weed.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I know, but it's better than just you're paying for it 6 years later. But
about to go max that bitch out and drop 10 grand on some bud.
I'm already making payments on the credit card. I don't really need to. I don't need.
I'm about to be smoking that Reserva Privada fucking moon rocks and shit.
Illinois
those pending transactions hit. I'm fucked.
Big clap of hands for Illinois becomes the 11th state to legalize marijuana.
Yeah, let's go.
Golf clap.
Illini, baby.
That's a good one right there. Governor gets serious about marijuana legalization.
Shouts JB for, actually backing up what he said he was going to do.
The governors, though, of each state are actually, especially the states that aren't legalized yet or medical yet. They're putting their hands in the cookie jar and gonna get dirty a little bit. And
You think JB's putting his hands in his toilet?
If it's gold plated, yes.
No, but I agree with you.
I think the governors are doing a great job, and I think they're working with their state representatives to make sure something in their states are moving forward, and especially with the 23 states they're already involved in medical or recreational or decriminalization, which is great. Which is the next one. Several states decriminalize cannabis possession.
I think decriminalizing it is one of the biggest steps you can take.
New Mexico, Hawaii, both did it. North Dakota. And then the 3 new decriminalization laws enacted in 2019 means that it is now the case in 26 states that first time low-level possession of marijuana comes without the threat of jail time. That's pretty dope.
Woo!
It's pretty good.
How about that? Just worry about that fine of up to $1,000.
You keep your dime. You don't do the fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
According to polls, marijuana reform was once seen as a marginalized third rail issue. There's no question that cannabis legalization is now at the forefront of mainstream American politics. It's crazy because I was talking to Mrs. Weedman the other day, and if you watch news, I watch, come home, watch a little, Jeopardy, and then watch some, the Wheel of Fortune, and the news comes on, or before the news comes on, whatever.
You don't sound like you're in your 50s, but...
Relax.
No, go on.
I told you.
What time does NPR come on?
I don't listen to NPR.
Oh, okay.
So... And that's on all day, every day. That's the radio. Anyway.
Quiet, Bobby. The wheels on.
Anyway, I was saying that if you turn onto any local news channel, maybe because Illinois is going recreational, so they have something to talk about, there's always an article about cannabis right now. And it's crazy.
Well, yeah, I actually...
Before it was about busting people on cannabis. Now it's about how do you smoke, what dispensary you should go to. It's kind of fucking nuts.
Yeah, I was laying on the couch with the lady friend, and we were watching football. Her reluctantly watching football, but after the late afternoon games, you always hear 60 Minutes on, and you're just like, oh fuck. You hear the preview for it, and they were talking about marijuana too, and it's just like everywhere you look on the news, something new about marijuana.
Yep, and I'm saying here in this Gallup poll, which has been asking Americans about marijuana for nearly half a century. Fully 2/3 of adults, 66% now back legalization.
How about that?
That's fucking big.
That is big, and we're getting more and more numbers, and it's basically because of us.
Yep, pass it the tea. I'm good for this second.
Oh,
that shit hit me hard.
Yeah, this stuff is hard. I don't know why I took a second one.
Because you're an animal.
Animale.
Yep. And while issues sometimes seen as progressive, left or Democrat, Pew says that clearly a majority, 55% of GOP-leaning voters are now on board. So both sides like it. I think they like it because of the tax dollars, but whatever.
And also, you're seeing with, younger voters, ones that more lean, mid-20s, 30s, Republican or Democrat, no matter what their affiliate is, they are supporting the legalization of marijuana.
True. Legalization of sins also appears to be on solid ground. Nice job finishing that tea, by the way. For the future, with 76% of millennials saying they support it. 76% of millennials say they support it. Then it includes 71% of Republicans in that age group.
Yeah, that's something the millennials won't ruin.
Nope.
Eat your heart out, boo.
Federal government takes steps to implement legal hemp market, which I think is awesome. If you have land, if you grow 40 acres of land of hemp, you can make a really good living on it if you could buy 40 acres of farmland.
I actually have a buddy whose grandma's farm just started doing hemp.
You can make probably about $1 million a year.
Yeah, I told him
cash
he's gonna be rich
in your pocket.
I said, don't forget about me.
Yeah,
because I won't be rich.
I got about $5.
Because I sit in this basement and do this podcast.
We can all put our $5 in, get a half a quarter of something, maybe a gram of some weed or something. That's about it. Cities move to decriminalize psychedelics. How about that one? Mushrooms in Denver and in Washington, California. Kind of fucking crazy. People doing their shrooms.
That's something that I thought was a big whoa. It was a big whoa moment for me.
Yeah.
When there's we're just going to legalize shrooms. I was like, what?
Did you hit the whoa, though?
They're finding out, though, that psychedelics, mushrooms, the psilocybin, helps with depression. So they're opening up to do testing in those states. I think it's dope.
I volunteers tribute.
I know a lot of people that microdose. And they like it, and they can't work without it. It keeps them focused, and it's from Mother Earth, and it's not like Adderall, which comes from a scientific lab. This is mushrooms that comes from the earth or cow poop, however you take them. Whatever.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just got to go right and put your mouth up to the cow's ass and just...
So, but
trip.
Oregon ballot measured being circulated to decriminalize possession of all drugs, especially psychedelics, which is pretty dope. And then looking ahead to 2020, it's going to be kind of cool. What we're going to see next year is going to be a lot of shit going on.
Got any predictions?
Oh, man. I think we're going to see our 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th state next year going recreational.
Yeah. T, how many states you think we're going to... What do you think the state number's going to be at?
Probably like 12, 13, but all I know for sure is fast food stocks and Grubhub stocks are sure as shit going to be going up.
Well, good thing you keep them in business.
Damn straight.
I'm going with
think
16 states.
You're going 16? Yeah, I think Florida's next because usually what you see happens in California, Florida usually follows. So you're watching everything that California's doing, and then Florida eventually because they're medical right now. I think they're going to be the 12th state. Possibly, and don't quote me on
Florida's the
that.
Port of Man's California.
It's supposed to it's true. It's supposed to go on the ballot in Florida, so we'll see. You know what though, Chicago, we almost we avoided a fast one here. I will tell you that.
We dodged.
Yeah, a bullet.
We're like Neo from the Matrix.
Let's not say that. Bullet's too loud. We're in Chicago, Chirac. Sorry about that. But
no, we don't call it Chirac no more.
No, they used to. So anyway,
we're moving past it.
Well, I do have to say that the black community fought for something I thought was very right. I thought they were fighting because there was not enough black business owners that got licenses.
11 licenses out to all whites, white males.
And they were going to pull, the aldermen kind of got together here and they were going to pull and try to, they actually won the vote to stop recreational that was going to happen January 1st and wait 6 months until they investigated on why it only went to 11 white male business owners versus none of the black community got any. So
or even women
also
and
too.
the Hispanic community as well.
Hispanic also. So it was a minority vote, and they brought it up to Lori Lightfoot. And she vetoed it, but in good standing because they went to Governor Pritzker and they got that extra 2 licenses for minority businesses, whether it be Hispanic, black, women, doesn't matter. Just I thought it was great. I think it was mostly going to the black community. I thought Lori Lightfoot brought up a good point also, saying that it costs about $15 million to start a cultivation center. Who has that kind of money?
How about that for Lori though? Like her, it's her first couple months as mayor, and she's got to face like these marijuana charges. She's the first mayor of Chicago to have to face like marijuana and all this.
Yeah,
like making sure it's dispersed out, to a diverse setting, diverse owners, and just complete changes out there. It's just nuts, kind of.
Yeah, so they were all in favor of it, but because of tax dollars that they had budgeted for 2020. About $5 million for the first year because all of them are going to be open yet. So, but $5 million maybe for the first quarter. I think maybe they were saying. I can't remember if it was first year or first quarter. But anyways, $5 million they had budgeted out. I get why they did not stop it on January 1st to wait 6 months. I get it.
No, you can't. You can't go back on it. I feel
no, but I get why. But here's the deal: they went to Governor Pritzker. He gave them 2 more licenses. So guess what, Chicago. January 1st, in 2 more days, you will be waiting in line.
Hopefully listen to us.
For 2 more days.
Long lines. And, be wary out there. There's only 11 dispensaries that are selling recreational on January 1st.
And keep an eye out for WeedMan in the line.
Yeah, maybe.
Because maybe. But he has...
I might be handing joints out to you guys. That's about it.
Yeah, he's got his fast pass and his medical card. And if you ever want to see something funny, just ask WeedMan about his picture on his medical card.
That's fucked up.
Looks like he's straight out of the GTA 5 create a character.
He said, Nico, let's go bowling.
That's fucked up.
And that picture is something. And I love your response. They told me not to smile.
They didn't tell me that. I asked them.
They don't
said
smile.
No. They did. So
yeah,
now
well, how do you not smile when you're around a bunch of weed?
I was happy. I'm like, can I smile?
I've been like,
no.
bitch, I'm smiling. I also don't want to look like a GTA creative player.
I do in that picture. So if you ever see WeedMan out,
that's
you want to see
Fabio.
that picture. I'm the What do you call me? The Argentinian.
Yeah, you're
model?
Argentinian. You got the Facebook. He's a model.
I hate you guys.
A little sweetheart.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Chicago, January 1st. Congratulations, all of Illinois.
We did it.
Wait for the long lines.
The wait's over.
Yeah.
But it's just beginning.
Yeah. So, anyway, if you see me out, I will give you a hit of my joint.
Ask for a sticker, too.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll put him in his WeedMan fanny pack.
Tailing off into that, Lori Lightfoot said, though, when this whole controversy was going on about stopping the law on January 1st, she was talking about this awesome idea, which I kind of talked on the past episode, was having like a co-op or a big weed farm for a bunch of people being able to do it and all chip in together and open up this co-op, which I think is dope.
I think it's interesting, but it does have a few problems with it, just like kind of getting the funding for it. It's like basics to be a cultivator requires about 13 to 15 million in an investment. It's not like
yeah, but if you all chip in, if it's a co-op and you have like 20 people doing it, that's almost like a farm where you can just all grow together and you can have everyone can have their section. You can have the Dav Boi section, which grows maybe 1,000 plants. I have the WeedMan420 section that grows 100 plants, and then you have the
lots
Tea
of blue
Factor
dream in the Dav
going
Boi
in and
section.
growing only 20 plants because he keeps on smoking all his shit that none of it left.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
anyway,
Be out there stoned off my ass like fucking with a little bonsai tree.
He's wiping his ass
Little
with the
comb.
plant leaf.
Brush
So,
them leaves.
I think it's kind of cool that Lori Lightfoot brought this up. And Pritzker, I guess, was interested in it, but then they signed that bill to get the other 2 licenses. But I think it's something that she should look into I think... Now, I watched... I don't know if it was Weed a Kid or something like that. I was watching a show one time, and it was I think it was in Oregon, or it could have been California. Don't quote me on this. It was a while ago. But there was a weed farm exhibition co-op where 25 or 35 local growers or growers in that area went in this big giant like warehouse building with this couple kind of started and let these cultivators showcase their weed, and then also people like they would sell tickets to get into this event, but you were able to buy weed at this
I'm
event
interested.
and buy glass and different ways to smoke out of your cannabis and stuff like that.
Bongs
But-
and pipes.
Yep. So there was like people that like that had their little hemp areas, and there were like people that had like the shirts and clothing that they made out of hemp and cannabis. Then they had areas where you could buy glass and bongs and bowls, and then they had the whole entire cannabis section where people were like they were showing their flower, they were showing the extracts
That's
they made.
insane.
There was a whole entire like edible area,
Yeah.
which we talked about this in the last episode, where it's almost like a farmer's market, but this was dope, and people were loving it. I mean, there was this one dude that was like showing different people how to use different stuff. I think if she's
So
smart,
he was just smoking weed the whole time. He's like,
Whatever.
here, this is how you hit this.
whatever. But I think
Sounds awesome.
I think Lori Lightfoot should look into something like that for Chicago to help the business, to help start a business for people, the local communities. You could have one on the east side of Chicago, one on the west side, one on the north side, one on the south side, and not just. I think all communities should file for a license to be able to use it. You say there's 20 people able to grow it, and then once the 90 days is up, and you have you open it up to the public to come and shop there.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, farmer's market. You just walk right up in there and just.
So every weekend,
I like this from this stand.
Right. Every Thursday.
It's like Tegrity Farms.
Every Thursday and Friday, or every like 3 or 4 days a week, that farmer's market is open, or twice a week it's open, and people come and shop there.
Be like a nice Saturday morning
And it's a working market too, because people are growing their own cannabis there, and it could be 20, 40, 50 plants, and people come and you have your little edible, and it's all legalized, but it's all done by the government, so they're monitoring it. You're paying your taxes on it. There's also maybe a scientific area where they have like they could test all the weed right there, and then it comes right back to
you
your.
can just give it to me. I'll test it on the spot.
You're gonna have to test it, but I think it's dope. I think it's something you should look into, because if communities can get together and do this, it gives people opportunity for business.
I agree, and like with the $15 million startup, if this does get generated from the from taxes, it should probably come up quick, because we're getting tax living shit up.
Well, yeah, I think it's something they should look into.
But that's fine.
I
mean,
really like that.
If I know my tax money is going to that, I do not care paying that extra
Yeah,
$5.
Well, also you got to think of the jobs it'll put together. Not only just for the farmers markets, they're gonna have to hire some helping hands. You're gonna have to hire a grower and somebody to help you cultivate it. And you have somebody working the stand for you, and then you have people working the building. You got security. You got it draws the community. You could probably put 150 jobs into something like that.
Yeah,
And tax revenue for the for the city, or for the, even if you do it, if the suburbs get to do this and you do it in different townships, where say Cook County gets 4 licenses to do this, and then you have, let's say, Lake County that gets 4 licenses, and then you might have Will County that gets 7 because their population, it's bigger county. Who knows?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's something that each county should look into. Their aldermen should look into. I heavily believe in something like this because I saw it on that episode and how well the community took to it, and it gave people a chance to own their own business.
Yeah, I like that, and I would also like to see a stand where somebody's just serving dime bags out of like a little plastic baggie with a bunch of Nike logos on it.
Weedman, you got a pretty big backyard. Why don't you hit up the mayor, see what he could do for you?
Yeah, they're not allowing anything in Evergreen Park, actually. Anyway,
The suburbs aren't getting anything.
not much. But you know what's something cool, though, too? There's some states that could put cannabis on the ballot in 2020, and I thought that was pretty dope to hear about that. You guys want to know about the states? Oh, wait, on this article, though, we're talking about Coca-Cola sent Marijuana Moment, where we get this article from.
Oh, yeah,
A
Coca-Cola.
statement denying a rumor that is developing CBD-infused drinks with Aurora cannabis.
That's a bummer. It's a bummer, but, you know.
Well, they put Coke in their fucking cola. Why not just do fucking
Why not
weed
do a
now,
little-
too?
Hey, don't you tell me how to spend
Look
my
at the
Friday
original
nights.
recipe.
Yeah, from 18 whatever,
That doesn't matter.
back when you were
They
born.
still use coca plants.
And they still cork the bottles, too.
Yep, see?
How about that?
There's 16 states where cannabis measures could appear on the 2020 ballots. Federal, let's see here, the states. Illinois, it's already talked about. Nebraska. You know what?
Ooh, how about Nebraska?
I want to talk about this one real quick when I saw this on this article.
I think that's an interesting one.
Because, well, here's the deal. So many people go to Colorado, buy
Nebraska's where they get busted.
$5,000 worth of weed, and they travel back to Nebraska and they get busted.
Yeah.
So instead of losing out on all that revenue just because you're busting somebody, what if 1 out of every 100 people that drive a weed through that state, they bust?
That's like fish
Excuse
in a
me, folks. Sorry
barrel.
about that. But they bust. Now, why don't you just implement medical cannabis and open up 60 cultivation centers and 200 dispensaries and make the tax revenue that you're losing from Colorado, that people are stealing from you. Now you can do it in your state and then make it recreational in 2 years after you figure out medical, and then you're good. They don't have to worry about fucking Colorado making all the money. And people will move to Nebraska, because who the fuck wants to move to Nebraska and look at the cornfields?
Yeah, I got buddies in Nebraska.
I know, but do you want to
sucks.
move there?
No.
Right. And their football team has sucked in the last 10 years.
College
so-
World Series?
Well, yeah, it's true. But anyway, I think Nebraska should really look at this, and they're talking about some sort of legalization in 2020. Iowa, another one.
That's a big one, too.
Well, you gotta think people are
Well,
gonna
that's
come right
farm
over the
country. You get Nebraska, Iowa. you
but
got
people
farm
can come right over the border and go to Illinois, and then they're gonna lose all that tax revenue.
country. Nah, fuck them.
All right. Well, Iowa's on the. They're talking about CBD products,
You think they're going to have better...
and CBD is
weed
not
in
legal
Iowa?
in Iowa. That's like unheard
Yeah,
of.
that is... There's a lot of states that still prohibit CBD.
Backwoods fucking cornfields.
Fun in the sticks.
The Massachusetts Supreme General Court declined to weigh in on whether health officials overstepped their authority by temporarily banning the sale of vaping products.
Well, there's no... Also, shout out to Paulie, who can't get vaping products and whatever coast he's on.
R.I.P. Juno Pods.
So we have to mail him a care package of it, probably.
But
Well, I'll get around to it.
they probably didn't. They probably just rushed it because they probably just thought it was all vaping products that had that vitamin E oil in there that was killing people. But you know what's something funny? Have you heard? When was the last person you heard on TV that died from a vaping product?
Well, we laughed at the commercial when we went to go see Star Wars. And again, it's like
Right.
the
But when
kids
was the
talking
last
about,
time you saw
"I'm
something
Julie."
on TV? Because it was all over the news. It was hot for like a good minute.
No, it's just done now.
Have you heard anything
Well,
now?
they realized dank vapes aren't real, so they stopped smoking them, and then a lot of
Right,
people lost
but
money.
they also put a heavy thing on the vaping world too for nicotine, where they went after them too, and all those places had to stop everything and stop making stuff, and now people are going back to cigarettes. Anyway, I don't need to talk about that. That's another topic.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, nothing says American like a good old classic pack of cigarettes.
pack of smokes. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Activists withdrew a proposed marijuana legalization ballot measure and plan to file a redrafted version addressing concerns raised by medical cannabis advocates.
I think that's more an interesting one too because it's so close to Texas.
That's yeah. Missouri, began issuing
Missouri?
medical cannabis cultivation licenses finally.
Missouri's a wannabe Illinois, so yeah, I can see them following us.
Arizona Department of Health Services Medical Cannabis Testing Advisory Council has issued recommendations. But they're medical, so they must be going legal.
A strain specifically made in Arizona. Here's an idea for you: Desert Diesel.
That'd be pretty dope.
It would be pretty
I'd smoke
dope.
it.
That sounds
West
like it just
Virginia, take me home. Regulators have so far received 75 registrations for medical cannabis business license applications. Good old West Virginia. Mountain Mama.
Mountain weed.
You fuck, dude.
There's maybe some good
I've
indicas
smoked
come out
some
of.
good weed in the hills of Kentucky. Not there, but someone gave me some stuff from there, and they know how to grow it in Kentucky out in the, just like California, up in the high mountains, you know.
See, that's what
The
I'm
high-
interested about. If like it becomes like federally legal here, is like different states how they grow it, where they grow it, because of the landscaping.
Yep.
So like, maybe we'll get those indicas.
But see,
from
the whole
the
thing is, though, a lot of the stuff is all indoors, except for states like California that can grow it outdoor all year long, you know,
I
because
have a
of the
feeling
climate's
someone will
perfect.
try like a crop.
Yeah, I mean,
2
in
months.
the summer, you can get your crop out there during the summertime.
Yeah.
You know, start plant it in the spring, and then in the fall, you got your 90 days, you're good. But then you once it goes into November, you're shot. But
Yeah.
you can get a good yield, and cannabis now lasts a year. If it's sealed right, it lasts a full year. That's pretty dope.
That is pretty dope.
Well, if you notice on grab one of the bottles, it should say it on there. Date it was picked.
It's
Date-
got like packaged and used by
yeah. So when the date it was packaged on.
12/17/2019.
Okay.
And then used by 12/17/2020.
Got a full year on cannabis. That's better than beer. That's better than most. That's better than most shit.
I feel like it'd still be good after you.
Yeah, it'd be dry, but you can also put it like in a cigar box, a humidor.
Yeah, I
Keep it a
got
little
one of
moist.
those.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. You know, Oregon regulators approved 16 marijuana violations, stipulated settlement agreements. Ohio regulators are accepting petitions for new medical cannabis qualifying conditions through the end of the year.
Ohio, I see it. Probably they might be one of those 16.
I got some international here though.
Ooh,
Italy,
lay it on us. International
Italy,
corner.
Supreme Court ruled that growing marijuana plants for personal use is not a crime.
How about that?
Go Italians.
Yeah, shouts.
Israel.
Israeli.
Prime
There you
Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he personally asked Russian President Vladimir Putin to pardon an Israel-American woman jailed on marijuana charges. Okay.
It sucks if you're fucking international and got put up on.
Well, I was just
marijuana
overseas, and let me tell you something. Spain was dope because you can smoke weed out there. I smoked in France, and I smoked in Marseille, and I smoked in Monterey, but it's not legal there.
charges.
And
Okay,
then
culture guy over.
I went to Italy, and I smoked all up and down the coast of Italy, which was pretty dope.
That does sound dope.
Corfu, Greece, everyone was selling CBD, so no one gave a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Dubrovnik in Croatia, and there were people smoking their own weed out there. That was awesome.
How about that?
That was pretty fucking
That is
great.
fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, do you guys understand what cultivators and business owners are trying to do with the with cannabis right now? They're trying to patent cannabis plants.
So they want their money.
Suits.
The suits.
You think they can patent a plant?
Well, other plants have been patented.
Yeah.
I know there's like corns and like Granny Smith apples. It's like the way that they have to be like like the pesticides put on and whatnot. I'm not a farmer,
But you can.
but
And it's already happening with certain strains, because anyone can do it with agricultural. It's not entirely personal plant. Patients are issued for GMO corn varieties resistant to specific pesticides, like you just talked about. Like you talked about apples.
I think
the big one is Honeycrisp, man. When those came
yeah,
out,
Honeycrisp.
now it's like, who started that probably wish they would have patented that friggin' apple, because it's like the hottest apple every year. People want Honeycrisp.
Oh yeah, it's so good. Do you think it's just like how they grow it, or a specific like the DNA in it that you can patent? So keep patenting like DNA on something.
Hey, it's about to be Valentine's Day coming up soon. I'm gonna go out and see if I can patent roses.
Ooh.
Make that big bucks.
Yeah,
Well, they're
why
prepping
don't you work
for-
on getting
They're
lit?
prepping. I mean, a lot of these companies are prepping for this because there's going to be a big patent war for cannabis names, for cannabis plants and flower. Like, that new one that came out this year that everyone's ranting and raving about, the wedding cake.
Oh yeah, you see wedding cake everywhere.
But it's like the hottest strain of the year.
Yeah.
In 2019, and I
feel like whatever High Times also puts up on there, like strain of the year.
But whoever created that strain would probably really want to hold that just for themselves. And,
100%.
And if someone wants to grow it in their cultivation, they would have to buy that seed only.
Yeah, I want to be the only one that sells it then.
And that's what we're gonna start seeing, and it's already happening. I can say this:
kind of do that.
Monsanto, Philip Morris, all these major companies are already buying strains and buying the seeds and buying the patents for this, and then you're gonna have to go to them if you want to grow certain ones. Well, and call it that.
Kind of like what the celebrities do with their strains.
Yeah, but did they patent it though?
Well, I mean, I don't think like anyone's gonna like make a strain called KK after like Wiz Khalifa after he already makes it. I feel like
he'd be smart
if he doesn't have a patent. I feel like it's kind of just like a respect kind of thing.
He'd be smart if he did.
I'm sure he does.
So I mean, you gotta look at it this way. This guy Holmes explained the strategy to cannabis, and they're keeping like strains back from people for like the next 30 years or for the next 20 years or the next 10 years, and they're going to release certain ones and then have growers buy it from them with genetics. So it's all going to be, everything's going to be grown in fucking like capsules and shit eventually.
Oh yeah, well they're so intricate now with like how science has evolved.
Well, we'll see. So I mean,
agriculture is
whether you like or hate Monsanto, they're smart business people. They want to be in business for as long as they have.
Yeah, and you're going to be buying weed from them probably.
Mm-hmm. Unless you can grow it yourself.
Which, I mean, if you do, you know who to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Got some customers right in here.
So, but we'll see. That's going to be interesting to keep up on. Dav Boi, your favorite topic coming up here, man.
Oh, the MLB, huh?
MLB, baby.
I am a big baseball guy.
I'm going to let you take this one.
So, MLB officially removes marijuana from the banned substance list for baseball players. This is actually very big in professional sports. You don't see that in everything. I know the NBA does. They don't test for marijuana. Mostly what they're looking for is like opioids, cocaine, and any kind of PED, performance-enhancing drug, like steroids and whatnot. But MLB and Players Union announced Thursday that they have reached an agreement to remove marijuana from the list of banned substances and will begin to treat consumption by players the same way that alcohol is handled. So, I mean, responsibly, unless you're Wade Boggs in it, where he just does like 75 beers on the plane across the United States. I won't do the Wade Boggs channel. Give me 75 J's.
Oh my god. But I think that's dope. And because of them not having to take opioids or have to take painkillers, they can go to CBD or they can go to cannabis when they're done not playing. Does it say anything in the article, or did you look at anything if they're like taking like an edible before a game or something like that?
Well, no, but I don't think they're gonna really be looking at it like that, because like we have heard with NFL players before, like Kelvin Johnson, I'm pretty sure he said that he would be like high before games, or he would smoke immediately right after games. I'm pretty sure Josh Gordon has played like high before. I mean, if you can do it, fuck it. But I'm not saying you should. But
I mean, those guys there was a big 30 and 30. I think I watched on ESPN one time when those guys were talking about, professional players were talking about, like, there's 162 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to get through whole season, they were taking like those speeder pills and they called them greenies.
The
and all
horny
that
goat weed too was big the past season.
So you got to think they were taking stuff to try to last that 162 game season. And a lot of them play hurt, a lot of them play banged up, torn knees, whatever.
I'm pretty sure back in like the 60s, 70s, Doc Ellis threw like a no-hitter on acid. There's a documentary on that. It was on Netflix. It was actually really interesting.
I mean, how many major league players, leading up to now, are addicted to opioids?
Well, that's kind of like what the thing is, because there was a player this past season who tragically lost his life. Tyler Skaggs of the Anaheim Angels passed away from opioid addiction, and this is kind of why the MLB is kind of moving there. They're looking out for their players in the sense that they would rather them, look at alternates instead of, pounding the opioids down. So marijuana, MLB feels is, confirmed that it could be a good substitute for opioids and helping the players, kind of like relax their muscles. Because, they're 162 games. They're starting in February, going till October if you play the whole thing. You get like a month off because you got training. That's like the longest season in sports.
Right.
So, obviously your body's going to be hurting.
Yeah, absolutely. You're banged up. I'm glad they did this, especially when those guys are at the hotel room and they want to take an edible or smoke some weed or whatever,
just,
man.
Like, hang out. And you're always on the road, like a lot of traveling anxiety, too.
Right.
Like, that's a big thing in the NBA, is, like, they feel like players are a little more depressed because, they're always traveling. It's the winter.
Right.
You can go from, like, California one day to, like, fucking northern Minnesota.
Toronto.
It's just nothing but dark.
Great city, but cold.
Cold.
But anyway, I think this is great. I just hope other, more and more sports and more, like, NFL is talking about maybe now.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be testing any sooner. Like any more years.
Well, that's cool. I think it's great. The MLB, baseball.
Just let
Good job.
Baseball.
Yep, baseball.
Let them smoke.
Let them smoke.
But also one more thing, the PGA, that's the pro golf.
Did they say they can't use CBD?
Can't use CBD, they're like Iowa.
Dude, fuck, are you kidding me? See, it's CBD, it doesn't even get you high, man. Phil Mickelson could probably use that.
Shit, I know Tiger probably could. And that man's always playing hurt.
Yeah, you gotta tell you, some of those guys play, what did Arnold Palmer play till he was like 90?
Yeah, those guys go on forever.
Yeah, so
But golfers are a little more athletic nowadays than they were.
I think I think anybody should be able to use CBD. Come on.
If you can wear funny pants and you have a fat ass, you're a golfer.
Yep, true. Oh, jeez. Anyway, let's segue into some international news, man. We had some people reach out to us on Instagram. We have some people that's listening to us across the globe, which is kind of cool.
We appreciate that a lot too. And if anyone ever has questions, we're always happy to look up anything about their country and talk about it. Like, send us the email.
Yeah, send us a DM.
DM us. You know where we're at.
Yep. And then we can. So we found out some stuff about Australia and what's the story with Australian weed.
Other than it's scary. Would you
They
go
got
to
some
Australia?
I can't wait to go there one day. But they got some fucking big ass snakes in Australia.
Yeah, I'm even worried about those snakes. Those motherfucking spiders.
You see those films? Between spiders and snakes, man, they got some fucked up shit. Dude. You could look at the cool stuff. I think it's snakes and spiders are cool, but a lot of people go there and say, "Oh, you got kangaroos and koalas." Fuck no, motherfuckers. They got
hell no. Those
snakes and bitches. Fucking. They got like some of the most deadliest poisonous snakes in the world.
Yeah, dude, I could brush up against like a plant and they'll die on the spot.
Yeah,
but they do have Fosters.
Crazy. Yeah, that's true.
It's Australian for beer.
For beer.
Oh man.
Now you're showing your age, Dav. They don't show Foster's commercials anymore.
No, but I remember that. That was always one of my
Up to last month they did.
It was one of my favorites. And the Simpsons episode where Bart like gets in trouble with Australia.
Yeah, making the kid flush the toilet.
Yeah, the toilet.
That's like early Simpsons, man.
Yeah.
Showing your age again.
Yeah,
Simpsons have been on for 30it years.
Yeah, I watched every season.
Yeah, see.
Not one as they came out. Not that old.
But they are. It looks like here at the end of a couple months ago, Australian Capital Territory, the act that's called Legislative Authority, made history by passing a bill to legalize recreational cannabis. This new law will make recreational use and cultivation legal in the territory of Canberra. Okay, thanks.
Forgive us.
Sorry. We don't want to get in a war with Australia like the Simpsons did or anything. Get in
Which
trouble.
way do your toilets flush though? Clockwise or counterclockwise?
I think it's counterclockwise, man, because of the equator. You go below the equator. It was 100% accurate because you go below the equator, everything is opposite. Everything swims backwards.
Explain why below my equator it retracts rather than multiplies.
There you go. This makes the jurisdiction the first part of the country to further liberalize cannabis laws.
How about that?
Had some opposition from the rest of the country, But these motherfuckers said, fuck you. In September, they passed the bill and it went into law, which would make adult recreation use possession up to 50 grams and growing or 2 cannabis plants per person. Dope. You got 17 people in your house. You're looking pretty good.
Yeah, honestly.
You know?
Well, it looks like the only thing they're really worried about, though, is, like, more deaths and injury on the roads.
There was no... Dude, you ever watch, like, what was that?
Cops?
No. That's America. You ever watch any Australian
Cops?
movie?
Kangaroo Jack.
No, what was the one with Mel Gibson? What was the one
Indiana
called?
Jones.
No, that's Harrison Ford, you ass.
Star
Mel
Wars.
Gibson.
Passion of the Christ.
Oh, man. No,
Braveheart.
he created that movie. No, that's a Viking movie. That's Norway. Or Scotland.
This is us guessing movies right now.
No, I'm trying to fucking remember that name. Come
It's
on,
okay.
Tim.
I got it.
Let's
Hold
name
on.
it.
Someone's got a computer at this table.
I know. Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson movie.
It was three different ones? Or 4? They just came up with a new one, too. It was like the
Hey, Mad Max.
Mad Max.
You're shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
I can't remember. I'm baked.
How is that Australian?
That was made in Australia.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. Just say Mel Gibson in the desert.
I couldn't.
That's all you had to do.
Well, do you ever see that desert? That's what
you're all
Australia.
smoking right
That's
now.
what Australia kind of looks like.
Oh, so you got the dude on top of a giant truck with nothing but fucking amplifiers on it, fucking playing a flaming guitar?
Once I said Mel Gibson, none of you guys said Mad Max either. You had to look on the fucking computer.
Hell no, I wasn't thinking of Mad Max. You were saying Australian
No,
Mel
I was
Gibson.
not.
Because
thinking
that's
of
where
Mad
it was shot.
Get your
I
old
mean,
ass out of here.
you heard my thought trail.
Oh, you guys suck. Anyway,
Check the tapes.
so most of that country's desert. So if you got like somebody living out in the desert, just like doing something with like putting a greenhouse out there and growing weed, you can get a lot of weed out there. That's That's deliverance. Medical cannabis has been legal in Australia since 2017. Most areas in Australia had also already taken the decision to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of marijuana. However, possession is still illegal under federal law. Canberra has become the first area of the country to further liberalize legalization around the plant. But critics claim the residents could still be arrested under federal law. That's bullshit. Kind of like here. Kind of like the United States. Kind of fucked up.
Well, it looks like starting January 31st is when they're looking at legalized use, possession, and cultivation of small amounts.
Well, we're looking good there. Way to go, Australia. Can't wait to come
It's
visit.
gonna be later this upcoming month. How about that?
Can't wait to come visit. Great job.
It'll be like summer there too. Summer 2020 in Australia.
I cannot wait to go. Anyway, one more country we're going to talk about, the UK. This is for one of our DMers that just always shoots us a thank you note for what we talk about.
Oh, what a sweet.
And that was nice of her because she just says that in England, Great Britain, they don't allow cannabis at all. And it's very hard to even find anything good out there compared to the strains that we were always talking about that we smoke here. She's like always saying, oh, I'm jealous and stuff like that.
Just don't settle for something.
No, but I found an article talking about they're gonna like have like 20 patients in Britain get like a charity grant that need cannabis, and I guess it's gonna be like a way for them to really see how cannabis works. It gets tested out on these 20 patients and see
Why
if these
can't they just look at a different country that
I
uses marijuana?
don't know.
Google it.
The charity, not yet approved by British regulators, plans to dish out grants for the hard-to-access drug to 20 patients in the first year.
They still follow the DARE program to a T in England.
How's that working out for the United States? All that money they spent.
Oh, jeez. Nixon's rolling over in his grave.
Yeah. Dozens of low-income families have forked up about $2,000 a month for private prescriptions of medical cannabis. That's a lot of fucking money.
That is a lot of money.
£2,000 for a month for private prescriptions of medical cannabis.
Because he said 2,000 pounds. I'm so used to thinking about like our money. I was like 2,000 pounds of marijuana. That's a lot of pot. I was like, oh wait, no, they're talking about currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me showing my brains.
This guy Sapphire, which will be the first of its kind in the UK, set up with help of the MP, said it wants to help families who may struggle to afford these bills. It said that it didn't want poor patients to be denied the drugs, which advocates say are life-changing. I agree about life-changing.
So they actually do give a shit about their patients.
For alleviating crippling pain and seizures.
Healthcare? I wouldn't know.
One of the trustees of the foundation, conservative MP for Hemel Hempstead, is Sir Mike Penning, who has campaigned in favor of medical cannabis. So, but what's cool about this is at least they're doing something. I don't know what, but they're doing something. So there's some news about UK. Australia's a little bit better.
Yeah, they're even working with like private clinics, trying to get their widening access, make sure that people, get with modest incomes can get access to it.
Pretty dope. But now they should just make it medical across the country, or start in London.
Make it across
London's
the world.
a dope country, a dope state, a city. Sorry,
We don't know how it works over there. We'll just be completely honest.
But I just say this: start it in London. It's populated. It's expensive to go to, but it's a dope ass time. They'll make a shit ton of pounds from all the tax dollars they get off it. It's pounds over there, Dav.
I know. I just don't understand it.
Then they got euros too, like 3 blocks away.
Yep, it's true. So,
Bruh.
But to start, hopefully they can get their ass together out there. A shout out to our DMR out there. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. And that's a little cannabis report for the UK. Hopefully we can get some better news for you.
Yeah.
soon.
If there's anything you want us to talk about, please feel free.
Dav, while all of us were opening up gifts, eating, and just being silly over the holiday break,
It was a great holiday.
it was
break.
very nice.
Took a nice edible.
Family time.
Paulie gave it to me.
Oh, that's right. How'd you like that?
That thing was so good.
That was a Seattle edible, huh?
Yeah, the Seattle.
What did you think of it?
It was like a raspberry flavored one. I love raspberry, so like I took it. It was super gummy, and like it felt nice. Like I didn't feel like geeked, like super high, like some edibles do. I just like found myself at the Christmas party with my family, just like kind of chill, playing with the babies.
Did you go to church on that edible?
No, just a lot of Miller Lite. Midnight Mass.
Hey, something's gotta work.
Hey, Jesus made of, Jesus says blood's wine.
Yeah,
Yours is just Miller.
Miller Lite, love it.
That's
While we were all
Shouts
talking
Jesus.
nonsense with Dav about holidays and church and Miller Lite and turkeys and whatever you do on your holiday week,
What'd you have?
I was distracted just like you.
Yeah.
We were all distracted about holidays and this impeachment thing that's going on. That Congress silently killed cannabis reform
Dun, dun,
despite
dun.
support
What a bunch of assholes.
on Christmas Eve, no doubt.
Then what's Scrooge?
Congress shut down cannabis reform despite mounting public support.
Now, explain this to me, Weedman, because obviously I was having a little too much fun on Christmas. This sounds like the work of some fucking scum.
Case in point, on Christmas Eve, Congress summarily shut down cannabis reform that would have massively shifted the paradigm towards freedom. Over the Christmas break, Congress voted to pass spending legislation for fiscal year 2020. Attached to the 2020 spending legislation was a list of riders intended on making the United States a less tyrannical Rex,
Tyrannical.
and more
Tyrannosaurus.
a more freer nation in regards to cannabis. The riders would have prevented the
freer.
federal government from interfering with legal cannabis companies and ease their access to U.S. banking services, among other things the industry has said it needs to function properly. Instead, cannabis businesses, which are fully legal in 11 states to date, will continue to face erroneous levels of red tape and uncertainty well into 2020, despite their rapidly growing size and popularity among U.S. consumers. One of the most
Whoa.
significant riders, the spending package, would have prevented the U.S. Justice Department from using taxpayer dollars to stop states and territories from implementing their own laws authorizing possession, distribution, or cultivation of marijuana. That rider was tossed in favor of a long-standing one that protects only medical marijuana. Did you know about that?
I did not.
T?
Hell no, I don't watch the news.
You don't pay
It wasn't on
attention
the
to
news. I found it in an article when I was looking up stuff about cannabis,
Oh.
and none of us knew about it.
This is just a lot.
But it didn't stop there. In addition to stripping out all the riders that would have saved taxpayers money by defunding the policy state that enforces cannabis laws. The Senate also added anti-cannabis legislation to the bill. According to Newsweek, the Senate added an anti-cannabis rule that prevents Washington, D.C., which relies on Congress for funding, from legalizing marijuana or even reducing the criminal penalties associated with its possession, use, or distribution, according to congressional record.
It sounds like they're outlashing against the support that legalization's getting. Mm-hmm. They're trying to kind of like suppress it.
Yep. All of these tyrannical moves against cannabis are in spite of overwhelming support for legalization. In 2017, a survey found that most Americans favor legal weed, which we talked about earlier. This number is likely far larger now. This move by lawmakers is not only anti-American and anti-freedom, it is direct contrast with the will of the American people.
Do you think this is a bad look?
I just think the fucking government just did it when no one was looking, which is fucking total bullshit. I think it should be, I think it should be on the fucking ballot for 2020 and let the people decide federally that it should fucking go into
honestly,
fucking law or not.
If it's affecting the people, you might as well just put it to a people vote.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to like prevent.
Despite the tyrants in D.C. attempting to keep this plant in the darkest alleys, where Dav knows a lot about, all they are doing is prolonging the inevitable and exposing themselves as tyrants. Starting with Colorado and Washington in 2012, the government's immoral, violent, and destructive war on marijuana began to come to a grinding halt, although measures for medical marijuana were enacted long before this. Complete legalization paved the way for revolution. Aside from the economic benefits and increase in freedom from legal cannabis, legalizing marijuana would have massive potential to curb the opioid crisis currently gripping the nation.
True.
So, it has long been stated that cannabis is a gateway drug.
All right, Biden.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Hey,
Mayor
Joe
just took it off the
Biden's
list.
ghostwriter like do this?
Yeah. So, which leads up to more deadly drugs such as heroin.
Yep. And I remember the first time I had a marijuana cigarette, the next thing I wanted to do was heroin.
You know, there are a lot of addicts out there, or people that are recovering addicts, that say that marijuana was their first drug that they tried before they tried something else. Do I agree that, and this is a good point, do I agree that some people have a mindset there? Yes. Do I agree that marijuana leads you to other drugs? No. That is your own choice in your own head that gets you there.
That is correlation does not equal causation.
Yes.
My friends.
Thank you.
Oh, look at Professor T over there.
Just because you've tried, I don't really know anybody that started with heroin and went to marijuana, unless they get off heroin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone who does heroin.
So
Never do.
I've met some addicts in my time, and they've all said that it has a grip on them. But can you honestly say that smoking cannabis, like we all do, has led you to do a harder, or wanting to do a harder drug?
No.
Nah.
It's made me want to have more munchies.
Go to sleep.
So I'm not an addict. I'm not somebody that has tried harder drugs. I don't know, but I've heard it said.
Not a drug guy.
Yeah. So, but I think the federal government has it backwards on this one. And,
It sounds like they took a big step back.
But
they're doing so well.
But do you feel like why they did this? And it's just maybe a conspiracy theory in my head, so who knows? Do you feel that because it was so low key on Christmas Eve when no one's watching, do you think the prescription drug companies had something to do with this, with opioids? Because opioids had gotten such a bad rap that they're maybe there was some fucking Shylock pain going off or some shit like that. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not a really big conspiracy guy.
I'm just saying it's called lobbyist. So
yeah,
to be a fact,
I mean, big farmers got their hand in a lot of shit. So I don't want to say that they did do that, but I'm not saying that it's not possible.
So I don't know. That's just me being an idiot.
No, not an idiot. Just thinking.
So, but while we all weren't looking, the federal government fucked us by voting on something that none of us were watching. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. Whatever you, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you, we got fucked, though. That's the gift that keeps on giving. We got screwed.
Hey, but no matter how you're enjoying it, enjoy your marijuana safely. Have a great new year. And as always, thank you for listening to the WeedMan420. Reach out to us. Send us a DM or an email. And make sure you subscribe, because that's how we get, like, no money. But we don't get paid.
No, we don't get
we
money
pretend
for
we
this
do.
podcast.
We just like seeing the numbers.
We just like getting together and getting baked and talking shit.
Yeah, you guys are cool, too.
So I want to thank you for listening. Happy New Year, everybody. Smoke smart, as Paulie says. Puff, puffing away.